Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Off the Bench podcast. My name is Robert Sellers, and tonight we're going to be discussing day two of the Players Era Festival in college basketball. This has been a fantastic event. I loved the first day, I loved the second day. So many good games, elite level basketball. It's my opinion that this is the best event in college basketball that we're going to have in the non conference, and basically the best tournament event we're going to have until the conference tournaments, and it's the best part of Feast Week. I love Feast Week. I know a lot of stuff happened today in non-players era related items. Seton Hall looks fantastic, which is weird to say, but they do. Iowa got a big win over Ole Miss. I love Iowa, man. I could talk for so long about Bennett Sturts and Ben McCullum. They are balling over there. But I'm just going to focus on players era tonight. If you want to see my instant reaction video to the first players era day one of that tournament, you can go check it out. It's on the channel. I don't really know how to link things yet, so you're gonna kind of have to figure that one out for yourself. Sorry, I'll figure it out. It's a work in progress. This podcast is a work in progress. But this tournament, the second day was phenomenal. It was really fun to watch, and based on tonight's results, we know that the championship game tomorrow is going to be between Michigan and Gonzaga, two undefeated teams, two red hot programs that are playing really really well right now, that have dominated both of their games in the Players Era Festival. Gonzaga, I guess, struggled with Alabama. They didn't dominate that game, but they still won by 10 plus points, which is impressive. And the third place game will be between Tennessee and Kansas. I think Tennessee's been the most impressive team this tournament. And I know Michigan and Gonzaga has been great, and I'll talk more about Tennessee in a little bit. But they're playing against Kansas. Who would have guessed that Kansas would have been one of the four teams that makes this round without Darren Peterson? It's been so impressive what they've been able to do. Again, I'll talk more about that later on when I talk about Kansas. But this is what the championship game and the third place game is going to be if you were unaware. And just two phenomenal basketball games. I mean, we got Dusty May going up against, oh my goodness, Mark Few. God, why did I blank on his name? Whatever. And you got Rick Barnes going up against Bill Self. So some awesome coaching matchups. Very excited about those games. But let's get into today's games. What happened today and tonight, and I'm just going to react to what I saw from the Players Era Festival Day 2. The biggest result from today, the biggest story, I think, of the day, the Tennessee Volunteers take down the Houston Cougars, number 3 ranked Houston, giving them their first loss of the year. They win 76-73. This was a fantastic basketball game. It was back and forth. Houston was up early. I think they were up like 12 points or something like that in the early going. They were playing great, and Tennessee was able to claw and fight their way back into this game. And they just outplayed the Cougars most of the second half and took a lead with like 10 minutes left and never gave it back up. I thought this was vintage Tennessee basketball. And I said this last night on my podcast. And I will say it again because I firmly believe it. In my opinion, this year, Tennessee is the best team in the SEC. I mean, we've seen Kentucky be really inconsistent this year. Owe hasn't really stepped up. I think they're going to improve. I'm not out on Kentucky. In my opinion, I think we should buy Kentucky stock right now because I think they're only going to get better this year. But I think Florida's been very inconsistent. I don't trust their guards. I don't trust Alabama's defense, nor their front court, nor the consistency of LeBaron and Philon. And I think Arkansas is going to improve as well. They're a young team, but I don't think they're at the level right now physically that Tennessee is. So I think at this moment in time, I am picking Tennessee to win the regular season in the SEC, and I'm picking them to win the SEC tournament and be a top 3 seed in the March Madness tournament. And I understand the SEC is definitely down this year. 100% it is. It's not, in my opinion, even a top 2 conference in college basketball this year. I think the Big 12 and the Big 10 have stolen that throne from the SEC. I think that's fairly obvious to see. And the ACC is also nipping at their heels. The ACC's been really good this year so far. So, with that being said, I think Tennessee is just playing phenomenal basketball right now. This is Rick Barnes basketball. And first of all, I just wanted to say, I think the loss of Zakai Ziegler, I think, was very concerning for Tennessee because he'd been there for forever. And their offensive ideal, it sort of ran through Zakai Ziegler for like the last 3 or 4 years. He was their point guard. He was facilitating things. He completely understood the culture of this program, and he made so many things work. He wasn't like an elite scorer or like a fantastic athlete or anything like that, but he just personified Tennessee culture, and everything was consistent around him. And I love Jacoby Gillespie. I loved him so much last year at Maryland. I think he's such a good player. I think he's much more skilled than Zakai Ziegler. I think he's got much more potential than Ziegler did. But I was just a little bit worried because it was going to be different. Sort of like with Ryan Kalkbrenner on Creighton. So much of their defense in the last like 3 or 4 years relied on Kalkbrenner. With him gone, I was concerned how they were gonna work defensively. And it was the same sort of thing with Tennessee losing Sekai Ziegler, but it has worked so well. Jacoby Gillespie has been a baller out there. 4 assists and 0 turnovers a day. He's been great. I think Bishop Boswell is really underrated. I think he's sort of one of the unsung heroes of this Tennessee team. And he only had 10 points, turned it over 2 times, but 4 for 4 from the field. He doesn't take any bad shots. He doesn't really turn the ball over that much, and he knows what's going on. And him and Gillespie are so good at getting the puppies organized, as Bill Raftery would say, and running this offense. I think they're doing a great job. And the fact that Tennessee won this game with Nate Ahmet going 1 for 8 from the field, I mean, Nate Ahmet did not have a good game. It's not like he turned the ball over a bunch and he was active on the boards and he made his free throws. But Nate Ahmet, I mean, it's just a credit to Houston's defense. Houston's defense is still maybe the best in the country. But Nate Ahmet really struggled. And he's going to have these games. He's a young player. He's a true freshman, top 4 recruit on 24/7 Sports. He's going to get better. He's going to be a great player. We've seen flashes from him already. He was fantastic in Tennessee's first game against Rutgers. I think he's going to be fantastic against Kansas in the third place game. But Nate Ahmet is great. But the fact that, again, he went 1 for 8 from the field, they were still able to put 76 points and win this game is such a credit to Tennessee's backcourt and to their organization. But the MVP of this game is someone that I haven't even mentioned, and that's Jalen Carey. Jalen Carey had such a Rick Barnes basketball game. He came off the bench, played 22 minutes, put up 13 points, was very efficient, 6 for 11 from the field, and had 7 rebounds. And those 22 minutes were so scrappy from Jalen Carey. Not the most talented guy in the world. He's 6'9". He's a brick wall. He's like 250 something pounds. He's big and he fights and he wants it. And because of that, he was able to help will Tennessee to a win. And that's just my I like watching that kind of basketball. I like watching guys that are not the most skilled guys in the world, but that give 110% no matter what. And that is what you can expect out of Tennessee coach teams, whether it's from Felix Okpara or Cade Phillips or Jalen Carey or JP Estrella. I mean, guys that are just not the most skilled in the world, but Rick Barnes is just able to get the very most out of them. And I think that's where his strength is as a coach. And I think that's where this Tennessee's team's strength is as well, on top of the elite play from Gillespie and Boswell and Nate Ahmet's development. But I think this Tennessee team is great. I think that they have gone to Players Era and cemented themselves as a national title contender, and they're going to be a team to watch in the SEC for sure this year. And a very similar start that they had last year as well. I mean, they were fantastic last year in the non-conference. They were the number 1 ranked team for a while until they lost to Auburn, I think was their first loss of the year. Or it might have been somebody else. I don't remember right now. But, I mean, that Tennessee team had a fantastic year. This Tennessee team as well is looking great. So, I mean, they made it all the way to the SEC championship game last year, lost to Florida. I think they could do the very same thing again this year. I think they're the best team in the SEC. And they just got a huge win over an elite Houston team. Now, I'm going to shift gears and start talking about the Cougars. Now, if you've watched my college basketball podcast before, whether it was the Big 12 preview, last night's podcast, whatever it may be, you know that I picked Houston to win the national championship at the beginning of the year. Of course, that wasn't some crazy pick. A lot of people did. And I am still holding true to that fact even after this game. And I know they struggled against Auburn when they played them in Birmingham, I think it was. Did they play them in Birmingham? I think they played them in Birmingham. They struggled against Auburn. I know. They went to overtime against Syracuse. I hear you. They just lost to Tennessee. I understand. I understand what you're saying. They don't look like the national title contending team that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. But let me just give you 2 reasons why this Houston team is still my pick to win the national title. 3 reasons, actually. Give me 3 reasons why Houston's going to win the national title. Number 1 reason, defense. That is what is consistent at this Houston program. They're going to be great defensively. They were great defensively in this game. They took Tennessee's 2 best players, Nate Ahmet and Jacoby Gillespie. Those are their 2 best scorers. And together in this game, they were 6 for 24. That is terrible. Houston played so well defensively, and they push you off the 3-point line. Tennessee 5 for 17 from 3. They're not an elite 3-point shooting team, but Houston guards so well, they close out so well, and they're dominant in the paint. Okpara, Tennessee's center had 3 rebounds in this game. Chris Senac had 11, and JoJo Tugler only had 3. JoJo Tugler's not been good this tournament, but he's a great player. Trust me, one of the best defensive players in the country. Houston's defense will be consistent. It will be good all season long, and it is the hallmark of the Kelvin Sampson program, which leads me into the second reason why I think Houston will be elite this season, and that is they're developing freshmen. I mean, did you see how good Kingston Flemings was in this game? 25 points, 10 for 15 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, 3 assists and 2 turnovers. Kingston Flemings is so good, and he's a true freshman. He's out here. He's either 18 or 19 years old. I'm not quite sure. But he is balling against elite level talent, elite level defensive coaching from Rick Barnes. And he's putting up just amazing games. Did he struggle last game? Yes. He's not 100% consistent yet. He's not going to put up 25 points, 10 for 15 from the field every game early on in the regular season. But he's going to get better and better and better. And as he gets better, and as he works with Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp in that elite backcourt, they are going to get more consistent as an offense and more consistent as a team. Tennessee had a scoring drought in this game. They went a long time without scoring in the second half. And I think a lot of that was Kingston Flemings wasn't really on the court. And I don't know if I fully trust Milos Uzan yet, but I think the peak of Kingston Flemings is the peak is better than the peak of Milos Uzan. Uzan's a great player. I don't want that taken out of context. He's a fantastic basketball player. He's experienced in this program, and he was a great get for Kelvin Sampson teams. They thought he was maybe going to go to the draft, but he came back. It was huge for them. And then Manuel Sharp is great also. He didn't play a lot of minutes in this game. I think maybe he was injured. I don't really know. He doesn't really look 100%, but we'll see with Emmanuel Sharp. Isaiah Harwell, another young freshman that is going to get better. He's going to develop. He was either a 5-star or a high 4-star who, under Kelvin Sampson, is just going to improve and improve and improve. It's going to happen. Him and Kingston Flemings and Chris Senac. And Chris Senac and Kingston Flemings are playing so well right now. So an improved version of them is very scary to think of if you're in the Big 12 and you're trying to dethrone Houston. Which leads me to the third and final reason why I still think Houston's an elite team, and that is Kelvin Sampson. This team is going to develop. They're going to keep getting better. I mean, this happened with last year's team. Last year's team in the Players Era tournament was terrible. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Notre Dame. They lost to San Diego State. I think they looked awful. And then they lost to Auburn in the non-conference as well. And they were able to rally. They were able to just make a joke out of the Big 12 and then cruise their way with close wins against Purdue and Gonzaga all the way to the national championship game, beating Duke, and then barely coming up short against Florida. So I trust Kelvin Sampson. I trust these freshmen to develop, and I trust this defense. I am not worried about Houston. Tennessee is a great team. I think these are two of the best teams in college basketball, and this was a really fun one to watch, and I really hope you get to watch this game again in March because it's a fun one for sure. But I'm going to talk about the next biggest result this week or this night, and that was Michigan just absolutely shoving Auburn in a locker. This is a 30-point win for the Wolverines. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water real quick. 102-72 against Auburn. And I feel a little bad for Auburn. You know, I really, really liked what I saw from Stephen Pearl in their first game of this tournament. I thought he looked great. He looked emotional out there. He looked like he really had the passion of this basketball team behind him. And I think he does still. That's not changed to me. I still think Stephen Pearl is going to be great. I think he's going to be a fun coach to watch, just like his dad, Bruce. But this was a really disappointing performance from Auburn, and it was a fantastic performance from Michigan. Now, I had my critiques about Michigan going into this tournament. I watched them against Wake Forest. I watched them against TCU. And the two main reasons why I thought Michigan was struggling, or the three main reasons, I'll go with three, and I thought this team was struggling. First of all, the turnovers. Everyone knows Dusty May, this is what they struggled with last year too. Michigan, they turned the ball over too much, and they were in the early going. But they fixed that this tournament. Only 9 turnovers in this game. Fantastic. And their first win against, who did they smoke last week? Oh, San Diego State. They didn't turn the ball over very much against them either. The second reason was the shooting. They could not find anything from the three-point line against TCU and against Wake Forest. They were 14 of 35 in this game, 40% from three. That is so good. I think Trey McKinney could unlock this offense. I think he's a great shooter. I think he should start. I think he's phenomenal. Yaxel Lindeborg was way better from three than he's been at any point this season. So the three-point shooting fixed, the turnover problem fixed. The last problem that I had with Michigan was I think they shouldn't have started Adai Mara at 5, Yaxel Lindeborg at 3, and Morris Johnson at 4. I think that's I think you're starting an elite center, which is what you should do. Mara should be a starting center on this team. And I think Lindeborg and Morris Johnson are both 4s, and you're trying to force one of them to play the 3. And I think with that, it eliminates spacing. It's harder to get back on defense, and it's harder to score in transition because you have the big. And Yaxel Lindeborg is a crazy athlete, so I'm not trying to hate on him, but it's just it flows much better with Yaxel at the 4, in my opinion, and Morris Johnson coming off the bench. But in this game, they played big, and because of that, they were able to dominate Auburn on the boards, 51-35 in terms of rebounding, and Auburn just could not score in the paint whatsoever. Todd Pettiford didn't even try and go in the paint. His only buckets were from 3 today. He did get to the line a couple times. I'll give him credit for that. But their paint defense was elite. I just think that Auburn's front court isn't necessarily elite. So when you go against a team that has a good front court and you can't dominate the boards and you can't force everybody out of the paint, I think that Michigan's still going to struggle. In my opinion, I think they should start McKinney and have Morris Johnson come off the bench. That's just how I think this lineup should work. But we'll see. We'll see how the season develops. I trust Dusty May more than I trust me. So we'll see what happens. But huge game. I think the MVP of this game was Yaxel Lindeborg yet again. And he's doing what I thought he was going to do. Everyone was saying Yaxel is going to come in. He's going to put up 25 points a game. He's going to be scoring left and right. He's going to be getting to the low post. He's going to be just dropping so many points per game. But that's not how I saw Yaxel Lindeborg. I thought Yaxel was going to come in and be super well-rounded. And this is back-to-back games that Yaxel has done that. 17 points, yes, that's great. But it's not like he took 20 shots to get there. Only 6 for 11. He doesn't just dominate the offensive court. That's not how he plays. And he also had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. So he's just putting up really, really well-rounded games. I think that's his strength, is being a well-rounded player, not only on the offensive but also on the defensive side of the court. And that's what he's best at, and he did that great again tonight. Adai Mara, 8 rebounds against this Auburn front court. He was great again. Elliot Cadeau not doing too much. 5 for 7. Or no, that's Namari Burnett. Elliot Cadeau only 1 for 4 from the field. Only played 13 minutes. He looks a little banged up right now, but I'm not too worried about that. I think he'll be fine. It doesn't seem to be a major injury. Burnett was much better today. Their bench looks great. I mean, Michigan just proved it. They in both of these games against San Diego State and Auburn, their front court just looks so much better than those other teams. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to go up against Gonzaga, because Gonzaga's front court has been dominating teams this year. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup. I'm really excited to watch that game. I'll give a game pick at the end of the night, or at the end of the podcast. Might as well give a game pick. But Michigan looked great in this game. If I'm Auburn, I need more out of Keyshawn Hall and Keyshawn Murphy, especially Keyshawn Murphy. He's the 5-man for this team, and I just don't think he's been a very good 5-man this year. I mean, yeah, he shot well today. He put up 12 points, was 2 for 3 from behind the arc, but I just think he needs to be more physical. I think that he needs to be more imposing, and I think he needs to have more than 5 rebounds in this basketball game. Elijah Freeman has not really been panning out the way they thought he would on the wing. Kevin Overton's been very inconsistent. I think 2 points combined from Freeman and Overton is just not very good. I mean, you remember last year, the wings on this team were Chad Baker-Mazara. They were Miles Kelly. They were guys that could shoot so well and that could score at a pretty consistent pace, and they just don't have that this year. I think Keyshawn Hall and Todd Pettiford are doing their very best. I think those are 2 great basketball players that, when they're on, are very hard to stop. I just need more out of these wings and from the 5 position with Keyshawn Murphy. I think if you had more of that, you would give yourself at least a chance. I think Filip Jovic played well today off the bench. Maybe he gets more minutes in the future. And Todd Pettiford, of course, was 4 for 6 from 3. That's one of his best shooting days all season long. And I think he's very clearly, him and Keyshawn Hall are very clearly the 2 best players on this Auburn team. So I had to give the MVP to Todd just because he played well. But this Auburn team, it's going to be interesting to see what they are in the SEC. Are they a team that just kind of gets dominated in the front court and has to rely on brilliance from Keyshawn Hall and Todd Pettiford to win games? Or are they going to get more out of their wings? Are they going to develop? Is Stephen Pearl going to develop this team? Is he going to get more out of his wings, and is he going to get more out of his 5-man? Because if he doesn't, I don't think Auburn is the most talented team in the world, and they could struggle this year. I still have them making the tournament for sure, but I don't think they're going to be an elite team in the SEC. at least not nearly as good as they were last year. So with that, we're gonna move on to the next biggest story today from the Players era, and that was St. John's getting their get back. They've lost 2 games this year, one to Alabama, and they lost yesterday against Iowa State in a nail biter. And they dominated a really good Baylor team. They won 96-81, and they shot the ball really well. It's crazy to say that, but they did. I mean, this team is so much better offensively than last year. It's not even funny. Like last year's team would never have gone 11 for 22 from 3, never would have gone 35 for 61 from the field against a really good Baylor front court, which I'll talk about in a moment. But I mean, the MVP to me clearly of this team was Bryce Hopkins today. And yesterday was Dillon Mitchell, who went out there and balled out. He balled out again today. I mean, look at Dillon Mitchell. 18 points, 8 for 10 from the field, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 0 turnovers. Dillon Mitchell was phenomenal in this basketball game. So is Ozziah Sellers. Those two have been so consistent. They're playing so well. Ozziah Sellers is such a good scorer from the wing. And Dillon Mitchell is so good and so dominant in the low post. I mean, those two guys have been amazing in this Players Era tournament. Zuby Ejiofor has also been great, and he was great in this one. Once again, only 1 turnover. He led the team in rebounds, or he was tied with Dillon Mitchell for the team lead in rebounds today. And he put up 9 points, was over 50% from the field. He had a good game, but it was the Bryce Hopkins show today for me. At least that's what I saw watching this game. He had 26 points, 9 for 12 from the three or from the field, and he did not miss a 3 in this game. He was 3 for 3. He played phenomenal. This was the best game that I've seen Bryce Hopkins play so far in a St. John's uniform. And if we get more of this version of Bryce Hopkins, pairing it with Zuby Ejiofor, with Dillon Mitchell, I mean, there are going to be games where Zuby Ejiofor struggles. There are going to be games where teams intentionally take Bryce Hopkins out of the game. There are going to be games where Dillon Mitchell is not as efficient as he was. But when you get those games from this team, when you get an off night from Zuby, an off night from Bryce, an off night from Dillon, there are 2 other elite guys that can step up and take on the load of the front court. This is a fantastic scoring front court, 100%. The point guard problem is still very much a thing to me. Dylan Darling started this game, had 2 points and 0 assists. That is not what you want from your starting point guard, let me say that. Ian Jackson played better today, scoring-wise, had 14 points, 4 for 7 from the field, but only 1 assist and 3 turnovers. Not point guard numbers. Right now, your point guards are your front court players. I mean, just look at it. That's what's 9 plus 6, 15? And then I'm not a great math guy, you can kind of tell. So 15 of their 19 turnovers came from their 3 dominant front court scorers. Your guards are just not playmakers if you're St. John. So I'm still worried about that. That's still not improved. I think to win a national championship, to reach a Final Four, it's going to have to improve. But that still doesn't take away from this elite front court, at least scoring-wise. So I was impressed to see that from St. John's. It's also not easy to bounce back from an emotional loss like they had against Iowa State and perform really well against a big Big 12 team like Baylor. And speaking of Baylor, I still think that this Baylor team, they've been really impressive to me so far in this tournament. I didn't really know what to think of Baylor going into this game. I haven't seen a lot from Yesufu, the true freshman who they really think is great. I didn't know if Obi Ogben could translate. He's transferred from Wyoming, and he hasn't been fantastic this tournament, but he's been pretty good. But the standout for this Baylor team has been Cameron Carr. In both games against who they played in the first game, against Creighton and against St. John's, Cameron Carr has been my MVP for the Baylor Bears. He has been balling. 8 for 15 from the field, 27 points. He's a transfer from Tennessee where he averaged 2 points a game. Didn't really do much on the balls, didn't really fit their culture. Goes to Baylor, and he is just so athletic. He is so fun to watch. He wants to dunk everything. He's in constant attack mode, and he's a good shooter. 5 for 8 from three-point land in this game. To me, the most impressive play that he made was he was sort of in the corner, and he was getting forced towards the baseline. He was dribbling, and he somehow kept his feet in bounds, like dribbled the ball over his head. It was this circus play. I thought he was going to fall down. And after sneaking around, I think it was Ozziah Sellers, he somehow controls the ball and hits like a little bunny fadeaway over Zuby Ejiofor. I was like, dang, dude, you can score like that? I did not know that. So Cameron Carr has been really fun to watch. I think Yesufu is only going to get better. He's a shot chucker for sure, but I see the skill. I think he's very raw. He's really athletic. 9 rebounds in this game. He's definitely an athlete, but he's just got some developing to do as a scorer. And that was a scouting report going into this year for Yesufu, so it makes sense. But I think he's going to get better and better. Pair his athleticism and his future scoring with that of Cameron Carr, and these are two. This is one of the best wing duos in the Big 12 for sure. If Ogbe Ogben can turn the ball over, not very much, which he hasn't yet, and if he could be a better playmaker, this offense is going to soar, and I think they're going to be really fun to watch. And also, shout out to Michael Rataj. He was great today. Had 12 rebounds. He was part of the reason. I mean, Baylor dominated the boards in this game. They did against Creighton, and they did against St. John's. They out-rebounded the Johnnies 48-34. That's a 14 rebound advantage. So they played good in this game. They just didn't shoot it very well. Yesufu struggled, and they really had trouble defending the St. John's bigs, which is understandable. I mean, everybody has trouble defending the St. John's bigs. They are very, very good. So I think this Baylor team is good. I think they're great. They're better than I thought they were going to be going into this season. And I've been impressed with what I've seen from them from the Players Era tournament for sure. But shout out St. John's for getting a big time win over the Baylor Bears. This is the best win of the year so far. So shout out to old Rick Pitino for getting one this year. Elsewhere in the Players Era Festival, Iowa State is looking phenomenal. It is a bummer that Iowa State does not get to play for the third place game or for the championship. But they're 2-0 in Players Era. They've had 2 big wins against 2 Big East schools, St. John's and now Creighton. And they're looking like another very good team in the Big 12. The Big 12 is so good. Just think about the Big 12. You got Houston, you got Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona, Iowa State, Baylor. It's going to be a good conference. It's going to be fun to watch for sure all season long. But Iowa State, I was really impressed with Josh Jefferson today. And I talked a lot about last night about the consistency of this Iowa State offense coming from. Wait, did their point guard not play today? What's his name? Lipsy? I forget his name. I guess their point guard didn't play today. Well, I'm blanking on his name right now, but Iowa State's point guard. Actually, I can go back and look at their stats from their first game against St. John's. Lipsy. Taman Lipsy had 16 points, 5 assists. I had no idea he was injured. That's interesting. I didn't really watch a lot of this game because I was hanging out with family. But what I was impressed about in this St. John's game was Lipsy and his playmaking, getting it to Momcilovic, his shooting, his ability to stretch the floor, and Josh Jefferson getting it in the low post and going to work and playmaking out of that and scoring out of that and getting to the free throw line. So I thought with that consistency, this Iowa State team would be really hard to stop. But I guess they were without Lipsy in this game. And Nate Heisey sort of stepped into that role. He had 6 assists, just 1 turnover. He played a really good game of basketball, was very efficient, wasn't looking to score, was looking to distribute. And Momcilovic didn't really step up and have a great game today, but Killian Torrey really did, man. Okay, he's the guy. He was attacking lanes, number 27. He looks fun to watch. He can turn it on, definitely. But Josh Jefferson, to me, was the most impressive performer on this team today. He had a double-double with 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, only 2 turnovers. And I really thought Josh Jefferson playmaked well. I mean, he's great one-on-one. He's really tough to guard. And I think he's really the heart and soul of this team. I think he's what makes this team tick. I think he's a great basketball player. And he's definitely part of the reason why Iowa State was able to win the battle on the boards. Creighton wasn't able to score very many points at all in the paint. He was part of the reason why that was true. Buchanan has also had a great tournament. Number 23 with the headband and the white pants or whatever. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field. He's been playing great. That front court with Buchanan and Jefferson, it's hard to score on, and they can score. And they get second chance points. They play above the rim. They're a fun team to watch for sure. So they're going to be dangerous in the Big 12. If they can stay healthy, that's the thing. I need to check on Lipsy's injury status after this video because that was their problem last year. They were great in the non-conference. They played really good basketball, and injuries sort of just derailed their season. So hopefully that's not the case with this Iowa State team because if they stay healthy, they could be dangerous for sure. Concerning the Creighton Blue Jays, I think it's very obvious that they are a completely different team in the front court without Ryan Kalkbrenner. I thought Owen Freeman, he was injured last game. I thought his presence would have been felt more in this game. He did have 9 rebounds. He was good down there. He just is not the most physically imposing player. Transfer from Iowa. Only 6 points in this game. He didn't really look to score. But I just thought maybe his presence would help out with the front court defensive issues. But, I mean, once again, you saw Buchanan and Jefferson were able to crash the offensive boards. They were able to score in the paint because Creighton isn't very threatening as a defense in the front court. And I think that could be a problem for them all season long. But Josh Dix played really well today. He had 6 assists. He can shoot it really, really well, whether it's in the mid-range or from the three-point line. He can score at all 3 levels. I really like what I saw from Josh Dix. I think they should give Hudson Greer more minutes, personally. I think Hudson Greer could be the best player on this team. I think he's really good. He's a true freshman. Had 12 points, 4 for 7 from the field today. He was like 7 for 8 last night. And doesn't turn the ball over that much. He can rebound. He can shoot really well, gets to his spot, doesn't play with any fear as a true freshman. So I think it's really impressive. I think they should give Greer more playing time. I think they could really unlock this offense, at least put him in the starting lineup. Harper and Graves combined 0 for 13 from the field. That is not what you want to see at all from your wings. So they're going to have to improve for sure. I thought Jason Green played really good out there today. But, I mean, credit to Iowa State's defense, but they need better play from their wings. I just really think Hudson Greer could give them that boost. So I would not be surprised if Greer got more minutes this year. I think that's what I would do if I was managing this Creighton team. But, I mean, once again, I trust their coach more than I trust me. So we'll see. Creighton still's got to win a couple games in the Big East to boost their resume to make the tournament. But I believe in them. I think Creighton can turn it on. They can shoot well. They can get hot. And if Greer's starting, I think their offense is way more potent than it would be before. And Iowa State looks great. Iowa State looks like a phenomenal basketball team for sure. Next game we got to talk about, the Kansas Jayhawks win 71-60 over the Syracuse Orange. And once again, I talked about this Kansas team for a fair amount of time last night. And I'm going to talk about them again. You know, going into the season, I really expected Darren Peterson to just have to carry this team. I looked at him. I saw #1 recruit in the country. I watched some of his high school tape. He can score at all 3 levels. He is such a good player. He is such a good NBA draft prospect. I thought he could win National Player of the Year. I went as far as to call him an American hero, and I thought he could carry this Kansas team to a lot of success. And I looked at his supporting cast, and I said, you know what? The supporting cast is kind of weak. I don't think it's very strong. I think Peterson is going to have to do everything. And yet, with Peterson out, the supporting cast has been able to carry this team to a third-place game appearance against Tennessee in the Players' Era Tournament. I think, in a way, this might have been the best thing to happen to this Kansas team. You know, take Darren Peterson out of the equation. Let the supporting cast figure themselves out. So when you plug Peterson back in, you're at your very best, and you can go. MVP of this game, in my opinion, was Trey White. Trey White is so much fun to watch. He is so athletic. He can shoot the ball. I had 10 rebounds. I guess he's more of a small forward than a shooting guard, but he's like 6'6", something like that. And he's a great basketball player. He's really, really fun to watch. Melvin Council was great today also. Only 3 for 15 from the field, but he just attacks. Him and Trey White play with no fear. They turn the ball over a good amount, but I mean, not in this game. Melvin Council, 5 assists, 1 turnover. He was a great facilitator. Flory Badunga didn't really have to do as much as he did last game. Had 7 turnovers in this game, only 3 assists, but 14 rebounds and 13 points is dominance. And speaking of rebounds, Kansas was all over the boards in this game. They had 49 rebounds to Syracuse's measly 29. And that is another one of the reasons they were able to just control this game. They got second chance points galore. Despite having 15 turnovers in this game, they were still able to win it because of Trey White, because of the aggressiveness of this guards play, or of the guard play, my goodness, and because of the dominance of the rebounding phase of the game from their front court players, including Flory Badunga, including Trey White, and including Bryson Tiller. So I was impressed with what I saw from Kansas. I think when Darren Peterson comes back, this Kansas team is going to be good. Another high-level, good team in the Big 12. Not to mention Kansas State with PJ Haggerty. They look pretty good too. And I know they lost to an elite Indiana team. And yes, I think Indiana is elite this year. But they look good too. This Big 12 conference, man, it's going to be fun to watch. 100% going to be fun to watch. About the Syracuse team, I think Syracuse is going to be fun to watch too. I was really hoping for Syracuse would win this game. After their impressive effort against Houston, I really liked what I saw from them. They're not a great shooting team. That is definitely true. Their best 3-point shooter, from what I can tell, is Tyler Betsy. He has been the last 2 games. He comes off the bench. He provides a spark from 3. But other than him, man, they struggled from 3. If you take away Betsy's threes, they're 3 for 20 from behind the arc. That's not very good. In particular, Nate Kings is struggling from behind the arc. JJ Starling is not having his best performances. And then Kyan Anthony, he did not have his best game. 2 for 12 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Really struggled out there. I think, of course, he's only going to get better and better. He's a good scorer. He's not the greatest athlete in the world, but he's going to improve. He's Melo's son, so he's got the DNA in him. And then there's another great freshman on this team, too, Sadiq White. He played pretty good today. White and Anthony are only going to get better, and they're going to boost this team. And if they can get a couple quality wins in the ACC, they're going to be in the tournament, and I think they're a really fun squad. But man, oh man, they have to work on their free throws. My goodness. It's not just William Kyle, who was 1 for 6 from the free throw line today. They have so many players on this team that just cannot shoot free throws right now. JJ Starling is having a terrible go at it. Kyan Anthony was 2 for 2 today, but he's like under 50% on the season. I mean, their free throw shooting is awful. And that is something they need to fix if they want to win games in the ACC this year. So if I'm Syracuse, I am shooting free throws in practice for so long and getting it down and making free throws. I mean, if this was a better shooting team, they would be so much better. They only had 2 turnovers in this game. They turned the ball over twice and lost because they could not shoot. So that's what's holding them back. Maybe it's just a cold spurt. Maybe they're going through a cold spurt and they're going to turn it on after this and they're going to look like a much better shooting team. But when you can't shoot and you're playing basketball, it is really hard to win games. And that's what we're seeing with Syracuse. So they got to improve. They got to improve on that end of the floor. But as far as this tournament goes, I've been impressed with what I've seen from Syracuse, competing with Houston, pushing them to overtime, and then competing with Kansas and only turning the ball 2 times in that game. So very impressed with what I saw from both of these teams. They both exceeded my expectations, and they were fun to watch. Next game I got to discuss, just another absolute throttling of a team from the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Just put Maryland on the list of teams that have just stood no chance against this Gonzaga gauntlet. They've now just killed Oklahoma, Creighton, and Maryland, and they've beaten Alabama and Arizona State. So this Gonzaga team looks phenomenal. Braden Huff was the man that was really doing it today for the Zags. 9 for 10 from the field is so good. That is so efficient. That is taking good shots and making them. And Graham Ike was good from the field as well. I mean, 4 assists, 13 points. There's not much to talk about in this game. Gonzaga absolutely just ran the table with Maryland. But I'm making my game pick. I'm picking Gonzaga to win the Players Era tournament. I'm picking them to beat Michigan next game. I think they're so good in the front court right now. I think they've got veterans. They know how to win basketball games like this with Ike, with Grant Foster, with Braden Huff. That's one of the best front courts in the country for sure. And then Mario Saint-Superi, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. I might be butchering that name, but he's been playing much better than I thought he was going to be this year. Not a great scorer, but a great facilitator, and that's what this Gonzaga team needs. I would have liked to have seen Steele Venters. Actually, never mind. 4 for 7 from 3, 14 points. That's a great game. No hate towards Steele Venters. He played good out there. Braden Smith's taken more of the backup point guard role on this team, but still was great today. 5 assists to only 2 turnovers. That's good basketball. And Gonzaga looks fantastic. They look like the best team in college basketball. The unfortunate thing about Gonzaga is I think they're peaking right now. I don't think they're going to get much better. I think they got a lot of veterans on this team. I don't think they have a lot of guys that are going to develop. I don't trust their backcourt still. I mean, they have one good shooter, and what happens when he has an off game, and you're playing against a team that has an elite front court. We'll see what happens against Michigan. Michigan could suffocate this team. But I just think that based on all the experience they have, based on how old their guys are, they're going to peak early in the year because they've played so much college basketball and they know what it takes to win these games. But once young teams start to play more and start to develop more, they're going to learn more how to play, and I think they're going to catch up to Gonzaga. But Gonzaga is building their resume so well right now. If they can win Players Era tournament, and if they can sort of cruise through the West Coast Conference, they are making a very emphatic point that they should maybe be a 1 seed in the March Madness tournament. I think they should definitely be ranked number 1 right now because of what they've accomplished. I don't think the AP poll means anything, so I'm not going to really put too much credit into that. But This is a great Gonzaga team. I'm excited to watch them against Michigan tomorrow night. As far as Maryland is concerned, yikes, man. Yikes. They do not look very good. Their offense just doesn't really look like it knows what it's doing. I guess David Coit is their point guard. I don't know. I don't know what to think of Maryland. Give Buzz Williams time. He's a good coach. This just seemed like an unfair matchup. It just seemed like Gonzaga's front court was just too good in this game. They got dominated on the boards. They were 5 for 21 from three, 36% from the field. Really struggling in this game, and it makes sense. I don't want to talk about Maryland too much right now. But with that, I mean that was day 2 of the Players Era. Those are the games they're going to react to. Alabama won against UNLV. Notre Dame beat Rutgers. I think Rutgers might have beaten Notre Dame actually. I don't remember. I don't really know much about either of those two teams. I don't think they're very relevant. And San Diego State, who did they play? Oh, they played Oregon. That was a good game. San Diego State won. I should have talked about that one, but I'll talk about it another time. That's going to be it for the podcast today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way to this point, you must love college basketball. And if that's the truth, then you're just an absolute legend and an absolute stud, because college basketball is a phenomenal sport. And I feel so bad for the people that wait all the way until March to follow this fantastic sport that I love so much. So with that, if you take away anything from this video, it is not that Gonzaga is not going to win the national title. It's not that Tennessee is a great team. It's not that Houston is going to contend. Is that Jesus loves you. It is that as humans, we are made for fulfillment in God. He's the only thing that can make us truly fulfilled as human beings. I mean, we might try and stuff things into the hole that is meant to be filled by God, such as our own pride, whether it's money, whether it's others' opinions of us, whatever it is. It could be college basketball, for all I know. That's what I do sometimes. But God really is the only thing that can fulfill us on this planet. And he loves us so much. And if you're going through a rough patch right now, just know that he is always looking out for you, that he loves you, and he's always there for you no matter what. So thanks so much for watching. God bless. Go make somebody smile this week. Go have a good weekend, a great, courageous, patient weekend with your family. And God bless, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later.